A bit of warning, this is not a story that is meant to infuriate people. It's not meant to garner pity for the parties involved. It's just a video to explain what has happened to me and my mom in the past few days. And I would like to preface it with this. I believe in divine intervention. I believe more in the philosophy of religion rather than the religion itself, but I do believe in a higher power, and I do believe that this story in and of itself was divine intervention. And you'll see what I mean when I get into the video. This is Kat the Crow-Winged Author here at the Magic Library, and this is not your typical crow has a writing desk. This is more like the crow has the pedestal. Or rather, the crow has the podium. This video is, like I said before, is not meant to garner pity or to deface any parties involved or to throw shame on people. No, it is primarily meant to convey concern towards the people that are still left in this situation. They just don't realize it. This in turn is more of a liberation video and a video telling the truth about what has happened these past few days. And I want anybody who is associated with with friends of mine that are still at this job to please help them see that what they are doing is not okay. I will not be saying names, and I will not be using names of people involved, and I will not be using the names of the name of the business, because this is not meant to defame. This is meant to bring the truth out. This is meant to tell the truth of what has really happened over these past few days. So we'll start out with a little bit of cheerful news that happened on Monday. On Monday, Mom and I were helping get the pronto preparations finished for this vacation that we're going on, and one of those is that we need a place to board our animals. We don't trust our neighbors to do it, and we don't have anybody close by that we do trust to actually come and watch the animals. So what we've done is that we found a little boarding house that also doubles as a grooming place. So we go there, we talk with the owner and everything, and this is the first time that we had met the owner. And she's nice to talk to and everything, and one thing leads to another, and I mentioned that I know a little bit about grooming because one of my first jobs as a teenager was that I actually worked as a bather at a dog grooming place that is no longer in business. And she asked if I was looking for a job. For those of you who are on the channel already and know about my current situation, I have been looking for a new job for the past month and a half to 2 months, and it was, and I do think that this was sort of like the little pebble in the ponds that makes the ripples, and the ripples get bigger from there. So I did say that I was looking for a new job. I was looking for a new job because I was tired of being bossed around for doing my side business while I was at work, which is primarily writing. I was just writing, and I had the time to write. But yeah, so she sort of sympathized with that and everything, because she is also a writer, and she is also a empath like I am, and she's also a paranormal investigator, which Mom and I just found amazing. And she's really nice and everything, and we really hit it off. She's such a hoot to talk to. For this intent purposes, we'll name her Charlene. So Charlene and I talked, and after that and everything, I was like, if I decide to end my employment at for, I guess, this intense purposes, we'll call it Progma. If I decided to end my employment at Progma, I at least had this other place to go and work at. I could go work at Charlene's, and so that was sort of in the back of my mind. Fast forward to Tuesday night. I wake up, I'm getting ready for work, and there's a knock at my bedroom door. It's my mom. Mom, who should have been at work, was at home, and she told me that she needed to talk to me. So I got dressed, I got everything ready, and I went to talk to her. She tells me what had happened at her job, on her shift. The supervisor, we'll name Steve, had come in and started berating everybody. He had been watching the security cameras, and he thought that they weren't doing the entirety of second shift weren't doing their jobs. They were doing their jobs. They were doing it at their own pace, which is what we were essentially taught to do it in a timely manner, but also do it at your own pace, because you don't want to stress yourself out. So Steve lays into my mom for doing her job. She's doing something that we had all been told, is that when something falls into a place that's not supposed to be, you're supposed to get it. And she tries to explain this to Steve, and he's just yelling at her and yelling at her and yelling at her. And she is trying to calm him down, saying, Steve, and he's like, don't say Steve, do not Steve me. And then he looks at the second shift supervisor, who's behind my mom, Misty, we'll call her Misty, and says, are you seeing what she's doing here? And do you see what she's doing? He was trying to get Misty in on his side. And first of all, that's wrong. Because even Misty could see that Steve was just laying into my mom for no reason. She's doing her job. My mother is doing her job. But Steve is the kind of person that that won't pay attention to when you're trying to explain something, because he always believes he's right. So, he finally tells my mom, if you don't want to work, go home. And he says it over and over again before she finally gets the message, I don't need to be here. So she says, fine, I will not be here. And he said, fine. And she says, fine, I will go home. She cleans out her locker. She takes her tools. She gathers her stuff. She gets her keys to her toolbox and her locker from Misty, who looks like she's about to cry because she can't believe what's happening. And she clocks out and she leaves. Okay, so for those of you who know me personally, you know that I am a person of sort of righteous anger. When something happens to a friend of mine, someone I'm close to, or family, then I take it upon myself to be angry for that person. That I take it upon myself to sort of be the avatar of anger that they need to really voice their thoughts. And of course, that's where being an empath comes into play and everything, because as an empath, I feel those feelings of repressed anger, and I'm like a beacon for it. I let it all out. So I try to get it out as much as I can before I get into work, because the only reason that Mom told me this before I go into work is because if I was blindsided by it, if Steve was still there, then I would go off go off on him as well, and I would end up losing my job. So, I get to work, I talk about it with Misty for a little bit, and Misty agrees that Mom probably made the right choice in leaving. Now, she said to see her go, but I told Misty this: I will give Steve the rest of the week to apologize and to not say anything to me about this ordeal. Because if he doesn't apologize, I probably will be leaving. Because if my mom was the target for his anger this time, how long is it going to be until I'm his emotional punching bag? So that was that. The rest of the night went on without a hitch and everything. I let it simmer at the back of my mind. I listened to some very calming tunes. I had my center back. Well, the morning comes and I feel the tension coming from up front. It is where Steve and the supervisor of the entire plant, for this purposes, we shall name Bob. Steve and Bob have basically teamed up against my mom and not letting her have a chance to speak. And also laying into Misty, who also came in to get chewed out, for saying that she was not handling the situation well. And it is clear to my mom that she will not be able to get her piece in, that they've already made the decision to probably let her go. If not to write her up, to sort of make her an example. She decides that she is not going to be written up, that she's in fact going to quit. And that was the end of that. That was the end of my mom working at Pragma. So I go home. I call her and everything, and I tell her, and I ask her how it went, and she tells me this. And we go in, we talk to Dad for a little bit. He was at work, so we called him to really lay in what happened. And Dad said that he didn't say it in so much words, but I could tell by the meaning, I could read in between the lines, that it was only a matter of time before I was the next victim of Steve's unbridled and unnecessary anger. So he said that the next day I should go by Charlene's and ask about the job, for details about it, for pay, to see if I would be, if I could sustain myself like I had been at Pragma. Well, he hangs up and I look at the time on my phone. It was just past 9 o'clock, and Charlene's is open from 9 to 5. It's an 8-hour shift. I was like, I could get dressed now and I could go and I could talk to her about this job to see if I have it for after we return from this vacation. And Mom's like, go, definitely go. So I get dressed. I drive to Charlene's. I talk to her for a little bit. She and the details were ideal. Starting out at $10 an hour, and then as soon as I get used to the job and everything again, everything's going to be by commission. And then she's also going to be teaching me how to groom dogs and everything. And I was like, this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. So after that, I go and I write my resignation letter in my car. I say that I'm officially resigning from Pragma as of the 28th of June, 2023. And I thank them for the opportunity to work there and to learn the job for the past 2.5 years. But due to the recent developments of attitude of management, I didn't name Steve and Bob, but I did mean Steve and Bob. And the treatment of fellow employees, that I did not feel that Pragma was a safe work environment for me, mentally or emotionally. So I told them thank you for the opportunity and for the time, and then I signed it. I go back to Pragma. I talk to Shelby, our HR person. That's not her real name, don't worry. Shelby calls in Steve. And Shelby, I give my resignation letter to Shelby. She reads it. Robbie was confused by this because I had asked if I needed to come in early. And of course that had been before I had decided to go and ask Charlene about the job. So I told him that, and he reads the letter. Before he can even say anything to me, Shelby escorts me out. I did need to get my tools, so I sort of did something that I wasn't supposed to, and I went to get my tools, but I got my tools back, so, yeah. So I come back, and I felt this weight being lifted off my shoulders. I was free. I was free of the emotional stress, of the mental stress, of the verbal abuse, and the mental abuse. And I felt liberated, and Mom felt liberated too. I say all this to sort of hammer home the point that it was the push we needed to move on and to help ourselves grow more as people. That's what this video is about and everything. It's primarily saying that if you feel the push, if you feel that you need to leave and everything, the push, then if you feel like that something needs to change, then you probably need to make that change before something pushes you off that bridge. Walk on the bridge. Don't let anything push you off. Just to get from this place to that place, it is a bridge, and you have to cross it. Don't let anybody push you off. Keep moving forward. Don't focus on anything in the past. And that's what's important. And I do believe that is the end for this video. I won't do any shameless plugs here either, just to say that if you liked this video or you found it sort of inspirational to sort of take that, sort of going back on my bridge analogy, to sort of take that leap of faith to walk that bridge that you don't know where it's going, then do it. Just do it. You are worth everything that you decide yourself to be, and it's important for you to know your limits, and it's important for you to know that if something needs to change, then it needs to change. I didn't really have time to go into all the details on my social media and everything to let people know what was happening, because I don't believe in giving updates unless there is a positive outcome. And even if there's a negative outcome, I believe in just giving out the story as it needs to be. So yeah. I hope you guys have found the sign that you need to make a change in something that you feel uncomfortable with. And I hope that this video reaches others who also need that advice and everything. So yeah. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you guys decide to stick around for more joyous news. I am going to be doing another video today, talking this time definitely about writing, don't worry. And and I'm sorry, this was just something I needed to talk about. So yeah. I hope you guys have a very wonderful day, and I hope you guys strive to follow your dreams and to make those changes where they're needed. Bye guys.